107.5 The Game Podcasting is sponsored by Modern Exterminating, a family-oriented company. Professional, honest, and dependable pest control solutions. We're your one-stop shop for all pests. We do it all. We know what bugs you. Visit us online at pestfreesc.com. That's pestfreesc.com.
Revenue sharing, obviously a hot button of conversation. We're still waiting on the official settlement to take place, as the judge on Monday did send the lawyers back to rewrite some things in reference to rosters and all that kind of stuff, players down the line and those kind of things. So we anticipate here soon we are officially going to be off and running for the new revenue sharing era of college sports. But you do pose an interesting question, especially at a place like South Carolina, where the natural assumption in most places is, men's basketball be number 2 on that list. Here, could make a strong argument that shouldn't be the case.
Yeah, I mean, it's not just about the fact that Dawn Staley does a lot of winning. It's about the fact that Dawn Staley does a lot of winning and nobody else at the University of South Carolina consistently does. And I think that, what I have heard, and I'm sure you've heard this too from our friend Matt Brown at Extra Points, is that it's going to be like 70% of that 22 million that schools can share in revenue is going to the football team. And that's not just because of the high profile of football. That is because the football roster is so much bigger than every other roster on a college campus. Then it would be 15 to 20% to the men's basketball team. This is the standard. I'm not saying this is for any particular school. Then it would be 15 to 20% to the men's basketball team, 5% to the women's basketball team, and 5% to everybody else.
Yes.
I think university athletic departments, even though the model is changing, for so long, they were as successful as their most ardent, most liquid donors wanted them to be, right?
Sure.
And so I think you pour money into Dawn Staley's program. Maybe you don't flip-flop it where, 15 to 20% goes to women's basketball and 5% goes to men's basketball, but maybe it's closer to a 15-10 kind of split.
Damon Clowney commits to South Carolina out of the transfer portal yesterday. Now, he's been around college football for a while. Started at Ole Miss back in 2020. He'll be 25 by the end of this year. Was at Charlotte for 2 years. Did transfer to Louisville back in December before immediately realizing he didn't want to be at Louisville, where he's still at right now taking classes, I'm assuming. But now he transfers to South Carolina to wrap up his college career. And, again, a lot of buzz and headlines from the name. Decent amount of production the past couple years at Charlotte. But what he does add is depth at a room that you very much need depth, especially with Wendell Gregory transferring out just a week ago. And Clowney is likely not going to live up to what his cousin did here, but it is a piece that you needed to add in that room for depth.
MiLaysia Fulwiley entering the transfer portal. That's a pretty big news, not just with the university, but as someone who's a local high school basketball legend around here.
And look, sends ripples through the entire sport of women's college basketball. This isn't some no-name on the bench at another school. This is literally a premier player that is going to be very sought after. Again, likely going to be number 1 overall in the transfer portal once all those things get updated. Jean Petit, I believe that's how you pronounce his name.
I love the accent mark usage there. That's good.
He beat him in 7 rounds in Harleston, England, acknowledged as the first international prize fight, $17.50. I don't like...
This was not a country yet.
This was not a country.
The United States was not a thing.
1776, baby, back-to-back World War champs.
Is that a first in this segment?
Something before America was a country?
Something before, yes, the existence of the United States of America as a sovereign country.
Because typically when we go back, it's like 1890, maybe something happened with like baseball or something like that. But very rarely, I don't think we've escaped the 1800s. So that is that's unique. That's one of a kind.